If you run a hackerspace, you have a lot of stuff. Maybe you don't have a hackerspace, or you're not really involved in running a hackerspace, but you have a lot of cool computer toys at home. So you have a lot of stuff. Or maybe you just have a house and you have stuff, or you have kids and your kids have lots of toys. Or maybe you embrace consumerism and you buy lots of junk on the internet or in stores, and you have all this stuff. Or maybe you dumpster dive and you find lots of cool things. However it happens, even if you're a vagabonding hacker slacker like I was, living out of a backpack, you still have stuff. How are you going to find your stuff? Well, over the last couple of years, I came up with a way to find my stuff, and that's what you'll learn in this workshop. The workshop is going to be in 2 sessions. This is the first one. The description says it's 4 sessions, but I only got 2 sessions. So this is how it's going to work. The first session, we're going to learn the paper version of my inventory management system. The second session, we're going to learn the software version. And it's sort of kind of like the evolution of how I developed this system. I started out developing the system just keeping a file on a computer. So it was on the computer, but it was pretty much like a piece of paper. There wasn't a formal structure to it. And gradually I figured out the right way to organize my things, and then I started entering them into the computer system as I made the computer system. Okay, I said you should prepare some items that you might want to organize and some items that you want to give away and stuff. So this is what we're going to do. Well, since I'm recording this in beforehand in case the live version doesn't work. So I'll try to mimic what I'll do in the live version. First thing is we're going to take an item. So here's one of my items. It's some black calligraphy ink, and you're going to put a number on it. The number doesn't matter. It just has to be different from all the other numbers, because the number is going to be the identifier of this thing. So one way you could assign numbers is just to count from 1. And if you did that, you could take a oh shoot, where's my marker? Well, so let's say you're going to so you can get a piece of paper. Yeah, get a piece of paper. Here's my paper. So one thing you could do is you can just say this is going to be number 1. So I wrote number 1 there. And then we'll call it black There we go. I need to get better at looking at this camera so I don't look so strange. Yeah. Okay. Number 1, black calligraphy ink. And now I need to write the number on it somehow. And I forgot to prepare that. But let me get a marker. It happens that I've So one thing you could do is just, take your marker and write the number straight on here. I'm actually not going to do that because I have stickers, but that's one thing you could do. Another thing you could do is take the marker, write on some tape, put it on here. I have some stickers over here, so I'm going to put one of these stickers on. I designed the system to use numbers rather than like QR codes or something for several reasons. One of them is that I wanted a very simple system that doesn't depend on special technology, doesn't depend on electricity. But another is that you can buy these really cheap sequential number stickers. I mean, you can buy sequential barcode stickers too, but then you need a special barcode reader to read them. And these numbers are short, so they're easy to put in. So, okay, so actually I didn't put the number 1 in. I using the number 8059. So whatever object you have, do the same as what I'm doing. You're gonna write down on your paper the number, and the name of the item. And let's do a couple more items. I actually already labeled this one. Here's a glue gun. It's number 3096. And for now, keep some space between them because there's another piece of information we're going to add. Like, okay, I'll do one more. I have some purple calligraphy ink. And here we go. As I said, you could also use the marker. You could get a, pretend this is not the sticker doesn't already have the number on it. You can write it in with the marker. I could even do that to demonstrate. Okay. So now you've learned the basic model is this. Each thing has a number. This is a thing. It has a number. This is a thing. It has a number. It's a thing. You might have brought, you might have brought something smaller, like maybe you brought a screw. Here's a bag of screws. If you want with the bag of screws, you could write a number on the bag of screws. Like that. You don't have to. I don't write numbers on my bags of screws. What I do for an object like this, especially if it were just like 3 screws, I don't write a number on, but I give it a number anyway, and by my own convention, I give it a negative number. So if you can't put a sticker on your item, you should give it a negative number. Otherwise, give it a positive number. That only matters when we get to the software, because the software does things a little differently if it's a negative number. So anyway, the point here was that yes, the best is if you can put a number on it like this, but if it's something where it's impractical to put a number on like that, or if you wanted to put a number on my tie, I mean, you could sew it on over here, I suppose, but I don't number my ties. I give them negative numbers. Yeah, actually, I'll do an example of that. So I'll put in tie -1. This is a square pattern tie. Okay. I think I said in the description, no, I didn't say it in the description, but it's good if you have, well, I got too far. Okay. Try that again. This is a thing. These are all things. This is a thing. I mean, but as far as the system model is concerned, a thing is a combination of the number and the description and one more thing. But so far we have the number and the description. Here, so the number is 8059. The description is black calligraphy ink. If you're wondering like exactly which thing should get a number, or like what's a good place to put the number, or if because maybe a sticker doesn't work so well. If I were doing this live, we could answer the questions now, but since not, you can email me afterwards and I will help, or somehow we'll figure this out. Okay, so now I said there are three parts to the item. We just discussed two of them, the number and the description. The last part is the container. Right now, my items are all just sitting on the table. So one thing we could do is we could assign a number to the table. Well, I'll just put a piece of paper on the table. We'll do it that way. This is going to be table number 2. Oh, can't see it that well. Okay. There's 2. See, there's a 2. And I could tape this piece of paper there, or actually I have some things I can mount on these. But anyway, so now this is the reason I said to leave some space. So now I'm going to mark that each item is inside item number 2. But I don't have to. Sorry, the tie is not inside item number 2. I'll just leave it empty. And I'll make that 2 is rolling cart. Or cart rolls. Shelf cart. And so an item doesn't need to be inside something. For example, the cart is not inside anything, and the tie is not inside anything. I could say the tie is on my body. As people say, all models are wrong, some models are useful. So you can decide how much of this makes sense to structure. And actually, maybe that's something I should go over. Well, this is the basic idea. So what you should do now is label all your items this way. Don't worry so much about what's inside of what. If you can put something in a box, mark it as in a box, but don't worry about it's on this shelf or this and that. Oh yeah, I should give an example of a box. So like, here's a box. This box is number 5019. So I could put my calligraphy ink in the box and mark that the ink is not in table number 2, but that it's in box number 5019. And what I was saying is, don't worry so much. Like, you could say the box is on the table, but for now, don't worry about that. For now, I think what's more important is you just start to record each item, give a number to each item, record the description of each item, and if you can put the item in a box, record that it's in the box. And now I'm also going to discuss more about how you can be pragmatic about this. So one of the hard things here is it takes a long time to write up these descriptions and catalog everything. And if there are a few layers of containment, then it's like it's easy to mess something up, or it takes longer to look things up. So one thing you could do is, I actually have like 20 calligraphy inks. So instead of saying this is one calligraphy ink, there's another calligraphy ink, and they're all in the same box, I could just say I could just instead of saying black calligraphy ink, I could just said calligraphy inks. Call it -3. Oh, you can't see that. Yeah. And, that'll be inside something. Another thing I could do, I could say is inside 5019. And then put the calligraphy inside 5019. But you know, I could even do this. I could just say 5019 is a box of calligraphy inks. So for this step, yeah, just start cataloging your things this way. Because once you have it this way, it'll be easy to convert it to a catalog that you can do a lot of cool things with. Well, that's one reason. But the other reason is this is already a very useful catalog as is. If you would, I'm doing it on paper. But if you would do it in a text file on a computer, or like a word processing file, or an email, or whatever, then you'd be able to search this file. So if I'm looking for, in this case, let's ignore the right side. Let's go back to the first one. If I'm looking for a calligraphy ink, I could search the file for calligraphy or ink, and it would get me to this one and to this one. And then I would look up here that these two are both inside of number 2. So then I could search for number 2, and I'd find, oh, number 2 is the shelf cart. Then I know that the calligraphy inks are on top of the shelf cart. And this is actually how I used the system for quite a while, for like a year or two, and a year and a half until I was really settled with the software I liked. Yeah, so it'd be neat to go around and see what different things you made. So, so now I'll go. Originally, I developed this system just for myself, but especially since we have the workshop here, it's neat to discuss the communication possibilities. Once I developed the system and I got good at organizing my things, I realized it's way easier to find things in my house than it is to go on the internet and buy them. But it used to be harder to find things in my house, and sometimes I would do that. Like I don't know, I bought a, here's something. Right. There we go. You ever bought one of these, maybe? It's a USB that goes in a PCI slot and has the motherboard headers. And I've gotten these time to time. I don't need them that often. So sometimes I figure it only costs like $3. I'll probably need it again anyway, so I can't find it right now. I'll just buy another. And then it comes eventually, and I get another. I don't care for the fast shipping, but other people do. So I think this is one of the reasons. I just recently stopped being vagabonding hacker slacker, and I found a normal job, bullshit job, that sort of thing. And a lot of my colleagues use Amazon Prime, and I could never understand why, because it's so expensive and the stuff isn't so good. But then I realized it's because part of the reason, I think, is because then they don't have to organize their stuff. Instead, they just go search, oh, I need this PCI USB motherboard thing, and it comes to my house in a day, or however fast it comes. And I think, why would you do that? It's like 5 times as expensive as, maybe not 5 times, maybe like 3 times as expensive as it would be somewhere else. But this way they don't have to keep the inventory. If they could keep the inventory, what I do is, you saw, I bought 1,000 screws. 1,000 screws and 1,000 cage nuts. So next time I need screws or cage nuts, I know where to look. I could outsource that to a retailer such as Amazon, and then I would search the Amazon inventory instead of my inventory, and then they would have to ship it to me. So my way is more efficient. Or it would be if we could share our inventories with each other. So that's what I was hoping to do in this workshop. Sorry for the long tangent. And but that's the political thing that you read in the abstract. So if you're comfortable with it, what you can do is do this on paper or on the computer. But if you do it on the computer, you can copy just the sections that you're comfortable with sharing, and email them to me. I'll figure out how to do this. I'll put some information somewhere, or maybe put on the wiki. That's a good idea. Yeah, let's I'll put on the wiki. I changed my mind. We're all going to put on the wiki. Anything I said email, just put on the wiki until we figure out a better way. And then if you want to take something from someone else, well, you need to put who you are, some kind of information or something. Then you can search. Oh, I want this thing. I want that thing. So you get. I mean, you could have done that without this system, but you get two things. One thing is you've organized your stuff, so now you know where to find it, and the other is now people can look for your stuff, and then you can share it and stuff. When we get to the software version in the next workshop, we'll enter all the things into the software, and then we'll also show you some features that could be helpful for exchanging things with other people. And yeah. So now I think one last thing on the how to organize your stuff for now. And it's related, in fact, to giving things to people. In fact, I said there are three. I said an item is three things. An item is the number, the description, which is glue gun in this case, and optionally the container. But in fact, it's a little more complicated. And one thing I have in my system is an idea of an item can belong in a place. And an item can actually belong in multiple places. And regardless of where it belongs, an item can be in a place. Let's give an example. This glue gun right now is on table number 2, rolling shelf number 2. Maybe it's currently on shelf number 2, but when I put it away, maybe I usually put it in this box, number 1137. So I could say typically the glue gun belongs in box 1137. But maybe sometimes I go on a trip, and when I go on a trip, I need to take my glue gun with me because, I don't know, I make art projects with my glue gun. So maybe in the context of a trip, the glue gun belongs in my backpack. This will matter more for the software, but what matters now is that maybe you have to decide what to mark as the container. Indeed, all these items are on the table right now, on the cart right now, or on whatever. But it's not useful because they're not going to be there. So don't get hung up on like, oh, this item is here right now, but then I'm moving it, so I need to mark where it is later. No, just mark where it normally should be. And if it gets out of place, then what you can do is collect when you have a mess of things that are out of place, put them all in a box. And one thing you can just do is label that box as this is a mess of stuff that I don't know what it is. But I got this mess from my desk and it was on this date, so some other day when I'm in the mood I can go through it. Another thing, so that's one way of dealing with when they get out of sorts like this. That's one way of dealing with it. Another way of dealing with it is you go look for the calligraphy ink in the place where it's supposed to be. You don't find it, and then you know to look in your box of stuff. So the whole point here is just if you normally put your calligraphy inks in a box, mark that as a container, and then when you remove the calligraphy inks out of the box, you don't have to change what the container is. Just do it like this for now. Yeah, okay. So that's good for the first session. Just do a few things like this. Ask me any questions you have for advice on how to do it properly. For the next session, for those who are interested in the software, you should set up a SSH client, and it'll give directions on how to. Is that the right way to do it? Yeah, we'll do that. You set up a SSH client. We'll give directions on how to log into the server, so we can all use the same. So you can use the software without installing it. Or you can also just watch and yeah. I'll also put on the wiki a link to another video where I introduce the software in case anyone wants to get an introduction to it. But we'll do a more interactive way. Yeah. And great. Thank you. If I do have to use this version of the video, I'll try to somehow be available right afterwards. I don't know what mechanism that'll be, but available for questions and whatever. Okay, bye.